Hi guys, and welcome back to Dave's Game Room. Today we're taking a look at Sega's Michael Jackson's Moonwalker on the Sega Master System. Also taking a look at the Mega Drive version. With me, as ever, is the man with the master plan. Mike, how's it going, mate?
HEEEHEEE!
Shamo!
I had to get that on there, I just had to.
So yeah, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Mike. Why have we chosen this game? Remind me.
Well, basically, I just wanted to see what it looked like on the Master System Mega Drive because I played it a lot in the arcade version, so I didn't even know it was on the home consoles.
Wow, okay, yeah, I remember seeing some footage of the arcade version, and it's very, very different to this, Mike.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is a side-scrolling sort of platforming game, and the arcade, correct me if I'm wrong, is isometric, wasn't it?
It was top-down view, and yeah, you're right. As I can see from this video, this is more like a platformer, whereas in the arcade, the coin-up version was more of a beat-em-up.
That's absolutely right, yeah. And this Master System version is actually quite an uncommon Master System game.
Is it really?
Yes, it is, yeah. The Mega Drive version is sort of more readily available. But this version's pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good conversion of the Mega Drive version, as you'll see when we get to that footage later on. So, tell me about some of your Moonwalker arcade experiences.
Well, my parents used to take me to the cinema quite a lot when I was a kid, and there was a big Sega Moonwalker cabinet at our local UCI. I don't know if you remember UCI, Odeon bought it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Basically, I just used to pretend I was going to the toilet, like a quarter away through the movie they chose, and just disappear and be out in the foyer playing Moonwalker, just like for ages, stuffing it full of 10p coins. I loved it.
Wow, that's awesome. Here you can see I've done his his special move to defeat all the enemies on screen, and he does a little dance for you, which is awesome. I was blown away as a kid, mate. Michael Jackson in a video game. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, looking back, it's all a little bit strange, really. I mean, the concept of it and the children in it. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, it's wrong on so many levels. Everyone, I think, has to laugh when they see this game. On the Mega Drive version, the kids actually say "Michael" when you get them.
Do they really?
They do, as you'll hear when we play the Mega Drive footage. And the fact
sorry to cut you off. I was just going to quickly say this reminds me a lot of. Can you remember Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles or Ninja Turtles on the NES?
I can, yeah, definitely.
It reminds you of that sort of side-scroller, sort of platformy, sort of arcadey beat-em-up sort of game.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's got very similarities to that game the way it plays too. Yeah. With the exception of the fact that you're Michael Jackson. In this game, you're kicking fairy dust that you can't see. In the Mega Drive version, he actually kicks fairy dust that you can see.
Alright.
Yeah, so as you can see, there's bad guys everywhere coming through the windows. I just died there.
What's the story behind the actual plot? Is there a plot?
I think this is based off the movie of the same name, but I mean, having not watched the movie for God knows how many years, I can't actually remember what the plot was.
I don't think I've ever seen the movie, to be quite honest with you.
I think I probably did as a kid with my cousins, you know, as a young lad, and then seeing this game a couple of years later, it was just awesome, I thought at the time, but now it's a bit kind of, you know, cheesy because it's Michael Jackson and
yeah, I mean, it's unique. It's very unique. I mean, it'd be interesting to know if the arcade cabinet, or maybe even just these home console versions, are worth more now because obviously he died.
I would say they are, yeah. If there's anybody that's a Michael Jackson collector as well as a video game collector, they might be interested. Certainly, even the Mega Drive version of the game's quite expensive these days, Mike.
Yeah, I can imagine. There was also, I don't know if you know, Dave, home computer versions of this, wasn't there? I remember seeing Amiga reviews for this back in the day.
The Amiga version, again, was a totally different game. It was like a top-down, weird-looking game. It was horrendous.
That's right. And it had real stinking reviews as well. It didn't have good reception.
It was an awful, awful version of the game. As you can see, rescuing the kids, but Mike, I hate to say this, they're at crotch height.
Yeah, bit dodge. But this was before all the accusations, I think, wasn't it?
It was a good few years before that all kicked off, yeah. So, I mean, another little fun fact for you, Mike. So, this has got Michael Jackson's music, and he's actually in the game. Did you know there's another Mega Drive game that's got Michael Jackson's music in it that isn't Moonwalker?
What game's that?
Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Which part?
It's well known that he made the soundtrack for that game. They changed some of it after all the scandals broke loose, mate, but if you play Sonic 3, and in particular Carnival Night Zone, you're going to hear Jam from Michael Jackson's song Jam.
No, I can't remember that at all. That's cool.
So there's the end of the Master System footage. Here's the Mega Drive version, and this cracks me up, the theme tune at the start.
So is this the same sort of concept as the Master System version, just better graphics?
Yeah, as you're going to see, it's pretty much identical gameplay-wise. The graphics are a bit better. The music is tons better because you've got better, superior audio hardware in the Mega Drive.
Yeah, yeah.
As you can see, there's a more spectacular intro.
Yeah.
And as you'll see, you'll kick off. You'll get Michael flipping a coin into the jukebox, which I always thought was awesome. Ow! But mate, this is all really convenient. It's Halloween. You can almost call this a Halloween special. Just throw on some Thriller and play some Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the Halloween theme. I mean, I didn't even think of that, but that's pretty cool.
Get to the zombie stage and you're on it.
I was going to say, this looks a lot better. I mean, obviously, the difference between 16-bit and 8-bit systems at the time was huge, but oh dear. Well, what was that then? It was... That's just a bit dodge. You wouldn't get away with that today in games, I don't think. They'd have to slap an 18 certificate on it, definitely.
Or they'd have to censor this and edit the ground. Thanks. She's having a go.
Can you kick the kid in the head? What was that? Oh, is that Michael Jackson's monkey?
Yes, Bubbles.
That is fantastic. This is just taking the piss, this is.
And what he's doing is he's pointing where the boss would actually take place, because you're going to see the boss come in and it's funny. Somebody wasn't right in the head, were they, Mike, when this game was being developed?
I can't believe I missed this back in the day when I was a kid, because I don't know if I would have found it as funny then, because obviously I was young, I was naive, but... So I take it these guys are gangsters. Actually, thinking back, I have seen the film, because I'm sure that the bad guy's called Mr. Big.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. And these guys also appear in some of the music videos for some of Michael Jackson's songs as well.
That's right, they do, yeah. A little bit of trivia for you, actually, regarding the arcade version I was talking about earlier.
Yep.
Apparently, there was Sega's infamous suicide battery on the arcade board inside.
Suicide battery, okay, so what did it do?
Basically, the game would be unplayable at the end of its lifespan. Okay, I researched this earlier, and that's what Wikipedia says. But I'm sure there was other arcade cabinets that Sega made, and a few Genesis cartridges that they made also had the Sega suicide battery. There's not a lot online about it, so if anyone's watching and knows more about it, please leave some comments. I'd be really interested in that.
I wonder if it's the same as the normal CR2032 watch batteries that they put into cartridges for save games. And that's what they mean by suicide battery, because it overheats, leaks acid, and then the game becomes basically knackered.
Yeah, but I mean, suicide battery's an odd sort of label to give it, because that's sort of like it's doing it on purpose.
Yeah, and as I said to you before we started recording the show, Luke Morse 1 actually has a working Moonwalker arcade board.
Wow.
So he's got one still working, 25 years after it came out.
I would love to play that again. You've got a lot more freedom in that than you have with these. You've sort of got, it's sort of a beat 'em up. You can also jump on top of the cars. You've also got a bit of magic in it as well, if I remember.
Absolutely spot on, yeah. You could summon a bit of magic, and I think the same sort of principle. They dance and then they get killed, wouldn't they?
That's right, and also I'm sure 4 of you could play cooperatively at the same time. You'd all be a different colour Michael Jackson.
Spot on, they'd all be wearing different coloured suits and hats.
Yeah, that was awesome, that game was. It was really cool.
If you want to experience that again, guys and gals, and you don't have an arcade cabinet, which, let's face it, not many of us will, check out MAME, the multiple arcade machine emulator, and download the Moonwalker ROM to play the arcade version. That's what I'm definitely going to do at some point.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to check it out again, definitely. What's that sort of blue marking under the children when they sort of run in? What is that? I can't make it out.
It's almost like some kind of magic that's taking the kids away from harm. Michael Jackson's just appeared. Look, see? Look, there you go. They go zooming off the screen.
What kind of reception did this get, the home console version? Because we touched on it earlier, the home computer version's got a terrible reception. What did this get?
I think it got a fairly sort of mid-range, medium kind of reception. It was okay. People loved the fact that it was a Michael Jackson game, but the gameplay's quite redundant, to be honest with you. It's quite tricky as well. Later on, the navigation through the levels becomes a real nightmare.
Right. Who made this? The publisher? Was it US Gold?
Yes, I think it might have been US Gold, actually. Unfortunately, the Master System box doesn't really tell me anything. It just says arcade. There's a bit of a graphical glitch. And Bubbles is back with us again.
Yeah, good old Bubbles.
So
did he actually own a monkey then? He did he?
He must have done, yeah. I think that's paying respects to the monkey that he might have had. So here's a boss round, which is essentially just an endurance round with a bunch of guys coming on. I'm punching them with some fairy dust. They're shooting at me. What do you think's going to win?
It also reminds me a little bit of that Kung Fu game in the coin-op, when they're just running at you left and right, and you can either punch or do a high kick or a low kick. I don't know if you remember that.
I actually remember there was an NES version of that game. So they're doing a little dance, they're all going to die, and that's the end of that stage. And Mike, at the end of the stage, Michael Jackson goes, "Boo!" and it makes me laugh. Right, guys, here it is. Ready for it? Okay, guys, thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.